Hey, heard you like destroying suns. Not dying. Being number one in melodramatics. Yeah, that's right. I too have finished Howling Dark. Frick, dude, it's freaking light. I too have finished Howling Dark. Just to prove it to you, I have two versions of the book. Yeah. Anyways, I finished Howling Dark, and quite frankly, favorite book of the year. That is indefinitely a fact. I've read a couple books this year that are pretty good, like most of the Bloodsworn saga. I read Poppy War, which I liked, but the sequel I did not like. And I've read Howling Dark. And holy cow, this is the first book right here. The second book won't even, it's up here. It doesn't even fit in the frame. That is how awesome I had this. Now, that's not saying I didn't have struggles here. I did. There were a couple things that I was a bit iffy on. But, in the most part, this was one of the greatest sci-fi books I've ever read. And now, I haven't read too many. And it may be surprising, but I've only read the first three, Red Rising. And this knocks all of them out of the water. Let's start with what I like before we get into the negative. So, there are many good things I like about this book. There's some bad things, but let's start off with the good. I really enjoyed the characters in this book, how they have developed from the first book. I think Rockio's really found his stride with the characters, and this was the first book that he actually outlined, so he probably had a plan with them the whole time instead of just feeling out where the character should be. And honestly, I think that was the best choice he could have made. It really made me grow attached to some characters. I can't wait to see where these characters end up, and I'm really excited for the next book. The plot in this book was pretty bang on, I gotta say. This was a 5-star book for me, and quite frankly, the plot has just taken my expectations of this whole series a notch higher. I've heard that it gets better with every book. I've heard that Howling Dark is the best. I've heard that the community is kind of indecisive on which book is the best, which I think is a good thing, because if everyone can agree that different people like different books for different reasons, then there's obviously a lot to like amongst all of the books that are out. So far I like Howling Dark the most, but I've only read 2. I've also read the novellas, The Lesser Devil. The novella Lesser Devil, not the novellas. I haven't read the other ones yet. And I really like that one as well, but I think Howling Dark as a full is... I believe I heard the Fantasy Network say that it is like a high-budget science fiction movie in a book. It's awesome. Like, his imagery with how he describes things, it almost feels like it's right in front of you when he's explaining it. It does lead into his prose, which is part of the reason why it took me so long to finish this book. I would not consider myself a prose snob, and I'm actually the opposite, where I enjoy Brandon Sanderson's books because his prose are so accessible and easy, because I have to focus a lot to understand what's going on and really get a grasp of what is happening. And with Brandon Sanderson's books, he makes it a lot easier for me to understand. Now with Christopher Rocchio, although beautiful, bit tougher for me to get into, and I don't know how to feel about that. It took me a long time, because every time I read it, I got tired from reading. Not because what was happening was bad, but because my brain was working overtime to figure out what's going on. And I think that just says something to how high of a level Christopher Rocchio is riding on compared to other authors in this space. He really elevates and makes every word purposeful, and there's eloquence to a lot of his paragraphs, and you could take almost any paragraph or any ending of a chapter and it will be a banger. He does not miss very often. Now, there are some creepy parts in this book. There are some moments where I'm like, what the freak is going on? There's a few moments, spoilers. There's a few moments in this book where I'm a wussy. I'm a weenie when it comes to scary things. I don't play scary games. I don't watch scary movies, and it's just not my thing. In this book, there are each antagonist or entity that is unknown, homunculi. Everything has a horror edge to it that it has opened some doors for me that I am curious to see where everything else ends up, where all the other horror books are. I want to see more weird things, like the Painted Man, a seemingly normal looking person, except he has a clown smile all the time, and when he opens it, he has sharp teeth. And he the way Christopher describes him is it's so creepy, and he does that with everyone. Karn Sagara has a creepy ominence to him, where he is almost everywhere. He's omniscient, just about. He is everywhere inside of Ragosos, and it's like eyes are always watching you. Like the paintings, how the eyes move with you as you walk by him. That's what Karn Sagara is, and what he feels like inside the book. Like nothing's safe. Then there's the Brethren, which is a knowledge octopus of sorts with tentacles, and there's the homunculi, like the metal one who steers the ship. The way he describes these entities or beings is next level, and it really added an edge to it. So there are a few things that I don't particularly like about this book. They're not huge, they're minor, and it's a lot of my fault. Although I'm trying to learn and become better at reading, I suck at reading these books. I get mentally tired reading it, and I just feel like my brain's working overtime just to compute what's going on. I'm not a big fan of the writing. I think the writing is beautiful, but I'm not good at reading it, so that's why I'm not a big fan. I will continue with these books because I strive to be better and become a better reader and more well-read as a person. But it took me a month to read this one because I was always too scared to even start reading, to pick it up again because I know I'd get tired. Another one, there's a dip in the middle, just about where it kind of took all steam, and that's when I stopped reading it consistently, is when that dip hit. And I wasn't too huge of a fan of that. I mean, getting in prison's fine, but I feel like it slowed down just enough on the roller coaster just to start feeling the rise back up again. A necessary slowdown, but not an ideal slowdown. I would prefer if it went whoop, it went down a little bit instead of down, and then it ticked back up. The second half of this book was a roller coaster. It was emotional. It was awesome. The betrayals. I've said this in my Instagram post, but you don't see the twists even when they're right in front of you. That's how good the second half of this book is. And I think that's about it. Those are my only two gripes with it. I'm not too upset with this read. So if the prose just feels inaccessible to you, I urge you to try again. Maybe read one of the Lesser Devil novella. So if you've read the first one and you're unsure about this one, I would read the Lesser Devil novella. I feel like that writing style is more akin to this book. And yeah, I mean, I recommend this book 100%. If you start Sun Eater, you owe yourself reading this second book. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you did, I don't expect many to actually watch, but thank you much, and I will see you later. And hi, Mom.